right? So let's get started over here. Talking about the settings first, and then I'll go over to the audio separation. My settings for Discord are, I use MKV. You're going to want to use VLC Media Player in order to go on and access that. So what MKV does is if your Discord interrupts or your game crashes or your computer crashes or anything crashes, your video file will be uncorrupted. All right, so .mkv is extremely important for that. We've all had our games crash on us and do some weird stuff. Okay, and it's just way more stable. And so what it also does is it allows you to go on and have the audio tracks so that you can go on and separate your audio. So let me go on and show you over here. I use these audio output capture devices. All right, so I have my Discord on Voicemeeter Banana Auxiliary. I'll get over to that in the audio section, but pretty much TLDR, you download Voicemeeter Banana x64, and let me change this over here. Let me change this camera. And you set your default device. You're gonna have to restart your computer when you install this, but you set your default capture device over to Voicemeeter input, and then you go on your Discord settings and you set your output device on Voicemeeter auxiliary input, and then inside of, let me hit Control Z. Inside of here, you add a I could actually do it right over here. Let me just delete that and put it in. You go to audio output capture and you add one. I'm using the same DC one, and what you do is you assign this to Voicemeeter auxiliary output because Discord is on Voicemeeter auxiliary output. Your desktop is going to be default, and I set my default over to like what you saw over there at Voicemeeter input, right? So that's how we set it up over there. In order for you to go on and separate your audio files, you need to use FFmpeg, right? And so I'll have a link for everything. I'll have a link for the FFmpeg, the FFmpeg tutorial on how to install it. It's really not that hard. You know, you just follow this guy's tutorial. It's like 3 minutes long. He'll show you how to use FFmpeg. And what you're able to go on and do with it is you're able to go on and separate your audio files. Hello, everybody. And so I could go audio track 2, and then boom, this is just my desktop audio capture, right? And so you layer those inside of your video program, and that's how you go on and separate your audio, you know, from your Discord and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, going on to my OBS settings, what you're going to want to do is we're gonna go to output for recording. Like I said, you're gonna go use .mkv because it saves you a lot of heartache when your stuff crashes. I use CQP. You should use CQP, not you should use CQP. Don't ever use CBR. What CQP does is it only changes the pixels on your screen that update. So everything else, if I was to stay here for like 3 hours, it won't be a 87 gigabyte audio file. It'll probably only be like a 2.6 gigabyte audio file. You know what I mean? So it really adds up. If you're sitting inside of a game and nothing is changing, you know what I mean? Like I'm just at Dark Souls, right? And I'm just standing at Anne Orlando. It literally won't even change any. It'll only change the pixels on your screen that move, and you can literally stay there for a very long time. If you use constant bitrate, you're constantly shooting bitrate at you know, through OBS in order to capture your thing. And in order for you to go on and capture like an actual high quality recording that's like actually worthy of like sharing with people, you're gonna have to put that at like 25,000 kilobytes, or so 25 megabyte bit rate to like 50 megabyte bit rate, which is like a ridiculous amount of memory, bro. If you run that for like 10 minutes, you're gonna have like a 3 gigabyte file. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not worth it. And it also just looks better at CQP. Like, every single one of my recordings is watertight, crystal clear. So the higher up the number you go is less quality. The lower down you go is the more quality. You know, the max I would ever recommend you go down is 17. If you have like a desktop and you have gigabytes upon gigabytes, you know, terabytes of memory that you could go on and use for and allocate for recording and stuff. But really, just go down to 19 if you're that much of a perfectionist. But, you know, I stick at 21. It looks just like I'm playing in the game. There's no hiccups like there are in CBR, or when you're going super fast and everything and turning your mouse and doing the MLG plays. It's not going to look like trash, you know what I mean? So that's why I use CQP. That's why I have it at 21. When it comes to presets, just stick with lowest or lower quality. Like, just don't use low quality, medium, high, better. No. You're not going to be recording or streaming inside of 4K. It should be a crime for you to go on and record or stream in 4K. Nobody's devices is able to even like utilize it to its full advantage, and it ends up looking worse because you're compressing down a 4K thing to a 1920 by 1080 thing, or people's viewing devices is 1920 by 1080 and they can't even look at it, so it just looks all pixely and pixelated and trashy. So that's why I just recommend staying at 1K 2K. So the tuning quality, you put this at high quality. Just put it at high quality, just hands down. Multi-pass mode, go single pass if you're having some issues with just go single pass. Just start off with single pass. If you're really having some issues, go 2-pass quarter resolution or 2-pass full resolution. Oh no, 2-pass full resolution is more. So honestly, just stick with single pass. If you have a desktop, you're not worried about that, and you actually want like the blades of grass in Elden Ring way far away to look like 15% better, then do 2-pass double, you know, resolution, or 2-pass full resolution. But other than that, just stick with single pass. B frames I have on 2. This is just from a tutorial that I learned from long ago. It's just like two variable frames, like to help your OBS with just to help your OBS out. It's really not important, but I just put that on 2. Your audio, you going to set this to 320. I didn't set my audio track 5 to that. 320 bit rate is the maximum audio quality that you could allocate over towards your audio. It just makes the audio sound better by a factor of 2. So you just put it at 320, you know, from the default of 160. Well, let me go on to canvas resolution. Base canvas resolution is OBS over here. So if I have this at 2K, I have this at 1K. If I have it at 2K, the box, this or if I have it at 2K, no, don't change settings. If I have this at 2K, this box is way bigger. Okay, like it's going to look the same, but like it's going to be way bigger. And then your output is your output, right? So you either go 2K and downscale to 1K. Don't ever upscale, right? And like I said, if you record at 4K and you downscale it to 1K, it's gonna look like trash. Like literally, just don't record in 4K or do anything in 4K. It's literally trash. All right. I record at 48 frames a second. Most audio, you know, every video website only does 30 frames a second for a good reason. So I just would stick with that. But if you have a lot of memory that you could work with, you have a, you know, like a desktop and a good rig, you could go 60, but honestly, I just recommend doing 48 frames a second. Everything still looks watertight, you know, crystal clear. And yeah, hotkeys are hotkeys. Just set up your hotkeys. You see all your things, scene 2, and all that stuff. You know, you're able to go on and switch scenes, shut off the camera, turn on the camera. It's really elementary and self-explanatory. Last but not least, I'm going to go over to the stream settings, and I'm going to explain like the philosophy behind that. So you check your upload rate, and you see what your upload rate is. So mine's at like 19 megabytes. So that means like instead of 12,000 kilobytes, I could go 19. But the thing is, you want to have a 20% buffer between 20 to 25% buffer. I don't know what it is, but there's actually like some some encyclopedia nerd that actually figured this out. That's just like the most efficient way to do it is you have a 20% buffer zone between, you know, your maximum bitrate to your to whatever bitrate that you're streaming at. So let me go on and use my calculator. Thank goodness that I remembered this math trick. So I have 19,000. So we're gonna multiply this by 0.25, right? And so that's a 4,750. So I'm just gonna go do that minus 19,000. I know it's negative, but yeah, that's so. If I have a 19,000 bitrate upload, it's 100% safe and stable in order for me to go on and put this 1200 to 14,250. All right. I use variable bitrate. You should use variable bitrate. Just so that it doesn't full throttle it, so that OBS and everything is a lot smarter when it comes to that. So it's not like full throttle, glitch, full throttle. Just you just have it be variable bitrate. You have your minimum, then you have your maximum, and that's by far the most efficient way for you to go on and stream. If you have a really good internet connection, like yeah, but even at the same time, like there's no, just use variable bitrate. Just use variable bitrate. You're going to want this to always be at fastest or faster, but it just depends. I'm on a laptop right now, so I'm trying to min-max the amount of resources and efficiency for my system. But, you know, I have this at, you know, low latency. I'm pretty sure I have it like that for a reason, because you don't really want to, at least for me, unless if you have a good rig, then you could go on and do that, but it's just best not to overdo it, you know what I mean? But I probably could turn this on high quality and it would just make the stream look better. It would just be a little bit more strain on my system. But I keep the B frames at 2, the profile at high. I keep it on single pass 100%. And yeah, that's pretty much my OBS tutorial. You have a replay feature. If you want to ever do replay, you have to allocate a file on your computer in order for you to go on and do the replay system. And 20-second replays is a little bit like long, but I did that for like CSGO. But this is really useful if you have like an actual terabytes upon terabytes for you to go on and mess around with. And then you hit like, you know, like on the macros. You find wherever your replay macro is, wherever it is over here. Replay. Right? And you watch a tutorial on that. It's a little bit finicky, but you just select wherever your file is for your replays, and then you hit it. I had a little bit of trouble with it, you know, because I was doing 20-second replays, but it actually does add on to your stream. But that's pretty much my tutorial for you guys. I hope it helps you out. So yeah.